here I am with another review. Okay, so this book is called Someone Else's Sky by Jessica Hawkins. It is an age gap romance. Sister's fiance, we'll put it. Again, this is Lake and Manning, dual POV. So at this point, Manning is in prison for a robbery, attempted robbery that he did not commit, but he could not be truthful about what he was doing during the time that he was supposedly committing this robbery because he felt like that would have actually got him in more trouble. This whole time that he's in prison, like, Tiffany's going to visit him. She ends up, once he's in prison and convicted, whatever, he gives her the title to his truck, and helps him get out of the lease for the place he was renting, and gets him money for the truck and all these things, so that he can try and pay off student loans because he was going to school before this, on all this stuff. So she does that, but he refuses to see Lake. She tries to go see him at the prison, and he refuses to let her in. He won't put her on the list. Anytime she writes him, he just puts the letter away, hides it, doesn't want to read it. I think he said he read one letter from her, and it was just too much to deal with. So she writes all these letters and gets no reply. Tiffany and Manning kind of have this unspoken rule that they don't talk about Lake. And, it turns out Tiffany knew what he was doing when he was supposedly burglarizing this house. And I personally even wrote this down in my notes, thought that Tiffany had something to do with why he got in trouble. Wrote it down in my notes early. Anyways, so now, so then he reads a letter. He's got a whole past with his dad. He reads a letter from his dad that makes him feel even worse about his pull towards Lake, and then he really starts to beat himself up about it, shut her out, all that stuff. And then when he finally gets out of prison, he moves in with Tiffany. When he finally slept with Tiffany, I was livid. When Lake turns 18, she's still hopeful that now that she's 18, he'll be with her. And he keeps putting on the brakes. At this point, I really didn't even know if I liked Manning. I was beginning to have very, very, very dark thoughts about this man. And then when they're having a party for Lake's graduation, after her birthday, her graduation party, Tiffany decides to announce to everybody that her and Manning are talking about getting married. Yeah. Again, like I said before, I don't like Tiffany. Don't like her. And what makes this whole thing even worse is Lake's father, who has never liked Manning, is now pushing for this wedding because he sees the pull between Manning and Lake, and he does not want that happening. Thinks it will derail her. Yeah. Yeah. Lake doesn't stop the wedding. She wants to. And then there's poor Corbin, which I didn't even mention him in the first book because I don't know why. But I feel so bad for him because he's just so in love with Lake and she's not paying attention. Anyways, 4 more stars. Swoon was 2 because, like I said, at this point, I don't even know if I like Manning anymore. Angst was definitely a 5, and Spice was only about a 2. Also, I didn't really like who the Spice was happening between, so happy reading.